What is evolution? Evolution is what we've done to transform our practice to be successful with all these healthcare changes that have come about. So for years, dentists and other practitioners have created these management service organizations, or these MSOs. And all they do is they're the management wing of your practice. You're doing it right now, today in your practice. All of us are. But we're doing it over and over redundantly. In that practice, that practice, that practice. So why don't we create a consolidated group that does it? So we've done that for our practices. And since we've done it in our practices and with all of our doctors, and we've found a way to do it successfully for years now, we're just going to offer it to everyone else. Because now we can do credentialing for providers, we can do it on a bigger scale so we can get better negotiation rates. We can order supplies from our wholesalers at a much, much cheaper rate because we've created this management service organization that administers to these practices. And so every doctor that's working with us now has seen incredible improvement. They're not spending their 3 hours in the evening doing this documentation. All they're doing is doing the patient care, doing the best they can do, doing what they think is right, not what I think is right, but what they think is right to make people better. So hospitals have been buying up physician groups for one specific reason, and that's just to make money off your hard work. They create a management company basically to run your practice and run the practices of their hospital. Well, we've done it. We've created a management service organization that can provide an envelope of all the components that make your practice successful. The behind the scenes stuff that you're doing in the evenings likely right now. The stuff that's not going to benefit you or your patients. Now, if you like it, we may not be able to help you. But if you don't like it, we can hook you up in a way that's better than anything you can imagine. We spent years and years training to do the best we can do. And suddenly now we're finding ourselves training to do this meaningful use and this behind the scenes required silliness. So what I want to propose to other physicians like us who want to make the changes so they can do their job is we can provide the management part. We can do all these computer requirements. We have the software. We have the hardware. We have the staff training. We have a scribe who does all of your documentation for you. We can train them to do every part that you need so that you can be back in the treatment room doing what's best for your patients. And this isn't something new to us. We've been doing it for years. So we know we can do it. We've made all of our markers. We've done all of our bullet points. I have a podiatrist friend in another town who's doing what we're all trying to do, keep up. But you know what? He works his tail off all day long, seeing his patients and doing his usual best job. But now he finds himself in the evenings doing this meaningful use stuff, clicking, all so he can make his markers and not get in trouble. Now we've done this. We've got our monies from the government because we, dotted our I's and crosses our T's correctly. But it's not about that for us anymore. We want the doctors to be back in the treatment room, and we've done it well. And we want to do that for you. We can do it for you. We really, really can do it for you. So if you allow us to come in, manage all the components that you don't want to do, we can do it better, cheaper, faster, stronger, everything. Several years back, we instituted something called a scribe. And all it is somebody sitting in the room with us, with the computer. We're not documenting on the computer. They are. They pull up the template that we've created with them. They do all the documentation. At the end of the day, we review it. They do all the billing. They do the prescriptions. They do the meaningful use portion. They do the electronic prescriptions. Whatever it is they need to do, we train them to do for you. And it's now out of your hair. You're now able to do what you like to do.
At Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates, I'm in charge of making the provider's life easy. I want the provider to have patience. I want the provider to have the ease of staffing and the control that they need to be able to treat their patients. So we have it dialed in here on how a provider can be successful in doing what they went to school to do. Treat the patient, establish a treatment plan, have a successful patient, have a successful outcome. That's what we can achieve here. On a grander scale, as Foot and Ankle has been evolving, we would like to extend that out to other providers, other physicians. Do they want to practice where they can just show up, have their patients, be seen, and have the ease and comfort of going home when the time is done? Currently, with Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates, we have many structures in place which allow physicians ease of their day-to-day work. We have management that can come in and do all your hiring, all the HR business part of the structure of your staffing. make sure you have the right staffing. So testing them, do they fit your culture? Do they fit the type of people you want to have treating your patients? As well as statistical data. Do you know what you're producing? Do you know your dollar per patient? Do you know your provider dollar per hour? How do you want to be more efficient, effective with those areas of your practice? Do you even know those numbers? So we have that figured out by daily statistics, by bonusing staff off statistics, so they have a stat that they affect, they're in control of, to help you reach your ultimate goals, as well as becoming efficient. With patients, we want to see them efficiently. We want them to understand their condition and what's going on. So we need support staff around the provider to be able to facilitate that, to be able to make that grow, make that practice excel in treating patients. And now this is what we want to bring to your personal practice. We have all the pieces set up, all the main parts that are in place, and now you can put your spin on it, your desires, your culture within your office into that structure, and be able to excel and to build your practice the way you want it to be built. Work the hours you want to work so that you can be successful. So there's two different ways. Either we take on that role individually and the provider just practices, and we take on all of your HR needs. We'll take on all of your management needs, your hiring needs, everything. You just show up, you treat your patients, you have everything you need for your day. You have the staffing, you have the EMR, you have the billing, and you go about your day. And then the other way that you could do it would be where we have key people that the provider gives to us. We can one-on-one work with those people, bring them up to speed with techniques, weekly meetings, information on how to create traffic flow so that nothing gets stopped. Right? We want traffic to happen. We want a lot of movement. We want a lot of particles going places, but we don't want backlogs. We don't want stops. So how do we keep all that process going? Weekly meetings, accountability, knowledge of your job, your post, your hat. The management type would be definitely hands-on, eyes open, everything is seen. So as a provider, you know what's going to come in, what's going out, whether it's production or revenue-wise. And we also have that available to the staff, believe it or not. So a lot of everything is, everybody can see it. We can explain it to the staff.
We did a lot of research into the best electronic medical record system, and we found the one that we think worked the best. And the system was originally set up for the doctors to be able to do it themselves. And the doctor has sat down at the laptop for the very first one and handed it over to me and said, "Here." So at that point was when our office developed the scribe position. What that position is in our office is trained people to do documenting, billing, paperwork, basically to take the workloads off the doctors. So becoming a part of evolution in our practice is a way to lessen the doctor's paperwork load so they can focus more attention on the patients. In our office, we have an excellent training program for that position. It's kind of a unique position. Not a lot of offices have that. Some do. Each doctor has a scribe, and that's a person that's assigned to them. They go in the room with the doctor. They sit in there with each patient visit to listen to the doctor so they can document each patient's visit. They do billing, they do coding, they write prescriptions for physical therapy, MRIs, any prescription medications that need to be filled, anything that the doctor needs to cut down his time, to cut down his paperwork. They also are trained on meaningful use. All these healthcare changes that are happening that are extra time and paperwork for the doctor, because the doctors need to be focusing on patients, not on paperwork. Part of the evolution process is very extensive training for the scribe member that's going to be coming into that position. Another part of it is a training manual. We call it a hat book. And a hat book is basically a very detailed description, job description, and how-to of every part of their job, so that once they're finished with the training process, they will have that manual of how to do every piece of their job. So if for some reason they forget how to do something, they'll have that easy manual to flip back through. Also, in case anybody else needs to step in to fulfill that job, in case they are sick or gone. In case the doctor needs to do something, they'll also have that manual to flip back through. In our practice, we have 3 offices. We have 5 physicians that range from very busy to less busy based on their practice styles. So we are very open to different practice styles and don't feel that every practice should do things exactly one certain way. So with Evolution, we want to help make your practice as effective as possible in the style that you're comfortable practicing. With all the changes that are happening in healthcare, a lot of practices are folding because they don't have the methods and the ability to be financially stable to handle all these changes. So our hope is to help each practice to be able to be stable and be financially secure, but practice the way they want to practice.
We don't like to think of healthcare as a business, but it is. And if you don't have someone watching that, you're not going to be successful. One of the big pieces of a practice, the bottom line, is keeping your doors open. Finances, super important. So at Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates, as CFO, I monitor all of that. We have a great approach. It's transparent. Everybody sees what's coming in and what's going out. If you don't have that, it creates problems. With our finances, we have an open-eyed approach. We're ethical. People know what's coming in. We have checks and balances. It's key to a practice to keep those finances coming in. The cash flow is super important. You have to know what's going in, what's coming out. You as physicians treat your patients. You want to get paid for what you do. And you want to know that that payment is coming in. It's getting collected properly. It's getting handled properly. The expenses are being watched. We know what we're spending. We know we're getting the best deal. One of the things I work on at Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates is contracting and credentialing. We've taken an overwhelming process and we've streamlined it. We have contacts with each one of the insurance companies and each one of the hospitals. We're able to get this efficiently done for each provider so they can see their patients and get paid. Having streamlined this credentialing process, we can now grow our practice and help your practice. We can come in and do it efficiently for each provider that you have. And as you want to grow, we can grow with you and make this process really easy. Another part of what I do is contracting. So what that means is I contact each individual insurance payer and I can negotiate rates. So as we grow, the idea with the MSO, as we bring on more practices and we become a bigger entity, we're going to have more bargaining power. We can get better rates. You can get paid more for what you do.